Hello and welcome to Book of the Mouse Club episode 84, Tuesday, November 22nd, 2022.
Morning, monsieur.
Where are you off to?
The bookshop. I just finished the most wonderful story about a beanstalk and an ogre and...
That's nice. Marie! The baguettes! Hurry up!
I'm sorry, but how can one possibly pay attention to a book with no pictures in it?
My dear child, there are a great many good books in this world without pictures.
I almost bounced clear out of the book. Some bouncing, huh?
Come home or make myself known.
J. Thaddeus Turtle, Esquire. Have you never met him? You will find his story in this delightful little book, The Wind and the Willows.
I've come to return the book I borrowed.
Finished already?
Oh, I couldn't put it down. Have you got anything new?
Welcome back. I'm your host, Courtney, and I am joined as always by the shadow on the moon at night to my wind blowing through your hair, my lovely co-host, Emily.
Hey, Courtney. Hey, listeners. What's this? More spooky season in November?
Yes, today on the show we're featuring our very own Nightmare Before Christmas, a literary sequel to the 1993 film from Sally's perspective, titled Long Live the Pumpkin Queen by Shea Ernshaw. This book directly follows the film, so let's refresh on that really quickly and then get into our discussion of this book. So we love to consult our favorite encyclopedia, Disney A to Z, and here's the entry for the film. Jack Skellington is the Pumpkin King of Halloween Town who, though busy, feels a void in his life. Upon discovering Christmas Town, he rejoices with a fervor to take over a new holiday. With the help of three mischievous trick-or-treaters, Lock, Shock, and Barrel, he manages to capture Santa Claus, whom he calls Sandy Claus, and proceeds to turn Halloween Town into a Christmas manufacturing plant. Sally, a lonely ragdoll who loves Jack, fears his new obsession will bring him trouble. Despite her efforts, Jack and his reindeer, created by the local evil scientists, set off on Christmas Eve with a lot of ghoulish presents. When the whole world responds with horror to Jack's earnest efforts and cries for the real Santa Claus, Jack realizes his mistake. He manages to save Sally and Santa Claus from the disastrous, dangerous Oogie Boogie and restore the Christmas holiday. With his newfound love for Sally, he can happily return to being himself. This is Tim Burton's tour de force using stop-motion animation, initial release in New York on October 13th, 1993, expanded release on October 22nd, 93, and general release on October 29th, 93. Directed by Henry Selick, it is a touchstone film at 76 minutes, featuring the voices of Chris Sarandon as Jack Skellington, Catherine O'Hara as Sally, Glenn Shadix as the mayor, William Hickey as the evil scientist, and Ken Page as Oogie Boogie. Tim Burton created the story and characters for the film, and the original score was by Danny Elfman, who also provided the singing voice of Jack Skellington. Produced in a studio in San Francisco using more than 227 animated characters and released on video in 1994. It had a limited reissue at Halloween beginning in 2000, and the film has become a cult classic. For the holiday season in 2001, the Disneyland Haunted Mansion was outfitted with the Nightmare Before Christmas elements, characters, and scenes, and its popularity ensured that it returns every ensuing year. The film was released in Disney Digital 3D on October 20th, 2006, marking it the first time that a once analog 2D film had been turned into a wholly digital 3D film. The 3D version was produced by Don Hahn with digital effects by ILM under Colum Slevin. So nice little recap there. Thank you, Disney A to Z. But let's just talk about our own experiences with Nightmare Before Christmas. Are you a fan? How do you feel about the film, Emily?
So this one's always been one of a favorite in my house. I wouldn't say like a favorite. We have to I don't think we actually ever owned it on DVD or on VHS, but it was one that my sister really enjoyed. Like when 13 Nights of Halloween, Nightmare Before Christmas, like she claimed we're watching that, like no other channel. So I really got introduced to it mostly through my sister. And then I remember it kind of making a cycle back in high school, which probably, again, that cult classic time of if it's starting to come out more regularly in the 2000s, we were in high school between like 2006, 2010. So with releases on DVD and whatnot, we never got it, but I know other friends of mine had, and that kind of became a classic for us to watch, like with movie nights for Halloween. But we've always enjoyed the music. The music to this is what makes, I think, so special, because I can't really think of any other Halloween films that are musicals.
Like full musicals. Yeah.
Yeah. Like Hocus Pocus has a musical number, but it's not a musical. So that always stood out to us because we love musicals in my house. So I've always enjoyed this film, and there's not many. I normally associate stop motion with Christmas, like with the classic Rudolph and whatnot. And we're going to get into this, Christmas versus Halloween. But I've always liked the stop motion type, the film medium, and it's a really cool art form. And when it comes to Tim Burton, like Nightmare Before Christmas is really the only one that's really stuck. I have seen Coraline, I have seen Corpse Bride, but Nightmare Before Christmas is the only one that I keep watching over and over. The other ones are great. I just haven't quite watched them as many times. I know you have a fun story, though, about Nightmare Before Christmas.
I don't know if fun is the word, but thank you for indulging me as we go down memory lane here and my experiences with Nightmare Before Christmas. This is not one that we owned, and I just want to throw out there, I feel like Disney has like retconned Nightmare Before Christmas to be, I know they don't count it as Walt Disney Animation, but they're like Walt Disney Pictures. It was a Touchstone film, and that they did that on purpose. Like, it was not under like the Disney family friendly banner. I mean, I guess
it is a dark film.
Yeah,
like
they
it
were
has dark
not
elements. I see why they did that.
Pushing it for kids. So all that to say, it was not one that my family owned on VHS, and that is where a lot of my love of Disney films come from, was growing up in the 90s and having them readily available. This was not one. So I'm going to set the scene for our listeners here. The year is 2002. I am 10 years old. Disney or DVD players are relatively new. I would say still somewhat of a luxury. You know, the price is coming down, but not every family has a DVD player. And I liked to do dance. I did dance for 16 years just at the rec center. And this is going to be a horrible thing to say, but one of my dance friends, we didn't go to the same elementary school, she invited me to her birthday, but she only got to pick one friend. And it was like, you're going to go to the movies and you're going to have a sleepover. And the horrible part is that, like, if I'm being honest, if I was in the same boat, she would have not been my one friend. So I'm sorry, but I'm just trying to set, this is all very important to where we're getting with Nightmare Before Christmas. So we go to whatever movie. I'm spending the night at her house, and she's like, Nightmare Before Christmas is my favorite Disney movie. And I was like, oh, I've never seen it. Like, yeah, that's cool. We can watch it. So mind you, I've never been to this friend's house before. Like, we've never had a sleepover. I am in an unfamiliar basement. I already have issues with basements. They're scary to me. And she has it on DVD. I don't think my family had a DVD player at the time. So this is an unfamiliar technology to me. I guess if you really think about it, the buttons are pretty similar, but like, you don't want to break somebody else's DVD player in an unfamiliar, strange home. So we're on her little like pull-out couch bed. She puts on Nightmare Before Christmas, and she falls asleep within the first 5 minutes. And I am not okay. Like, I'm 10. You know, I know that this isn't real, but I was scared. Like, this movie freaked me out a bit. But I didn't want to stop the movie because, one, then I'm just sitting in the dark in the basement with nothing on. And two, there's like, you know, the social situation of being 10, like, oh, like, what if I turn it off? And she wakes up and then she's like, oh, why'd you turn it off? So there was no winning the situation for me. So I just proceeded to watch the entire movie in horror at 10 years old. And it's really not a scary movie, but I think just the situation that I was in led me to not take a liking to this movie.
It's so funny because you also love horror films, like classic horror. So when I've heard, you've told me this story before, and I'm like, but this sounds so un-Courtney, because
really
you love
is.
musicals and you love like Universal monsters. And I would say that this kind of fits in that same vein, that it's not an overly
And I love
gory or
Halloween.
overly scary.
We have talked about how much I love Halloween for years on this podcast. I do agree that the soundtrack is phenomenal. And I watched it before we watched it before we recorded this. Like, I watched it last week. I'm not scared of it now. The character that creeps me out is the mayor when he has his unpleasant face. I don't know why Doug makes fun of me. He's like, Courtney, he's not scary, but I think just if something scares you as a little kid, it sticks with you. Not that you're still afraid of it, but like you get that creepy vibe.
It's that flashback to that adrenaline rush.
I know for you have a similar scene in The Great Mouse Detective.
Yeah, I was just gonna say when when Fidget bursts through the window. Like, it doesn't scare me anymore, but I do still find myself suddenly looking away from the TV at that moment, like to grab my water or something like that.
I'm not afraid of it. It's not heavily in my rotation, but for another reason that we'll get to later. It's not in my Halloween lineup. We own it because we own a lot of movies on our Apple account, like way before Disney Plus. But we put movies on to fall asleep to, just for that comfort of like waking up. But Doug knows that he's not allowed to put this one on at night because it's like, oh, this is too familiar. I do not want to hear about the clown with the tearaway face as I'm trying to drift off to sleep.
It's funny though, you say you're afraid of the mayor, or were afraid, like creeped out by the mayor, because he has my favorite line in the entire movie when he says, Jack, I can't make decisions by myself. I'm only an elected official. And it gets me every time. I'm a government and politics teacher here, people. The civic educator in me is like, haha, that's really funny. And if you don't listen carefully and you miss that line, like, you're just like, oh, okay, he said something. It's not important, but it's actually a really great joke. So that's like my favorite line in the whole film. But let's talk about that. What do we like or dislike about the film?
I like the music, but I dislike the mayor. But that's not to say, I think it's a really unique film and it's strong in that regard. Like, this is something, as you've said, nobody had really done before. Juxtaposing these two holidays is a fun approach. I am a fan of stop motion animation, so I respect the film. I do think some of the character development is a little weak, and maybe it's just because I don't have the nostalgia goggles for it. I'm just not invested in the journey that we are on in the film, and I am so sorry. People who I know people love it. Don't give us bad reviews just because of that, but I don't know. I'm just not a big fan.
So looking at Tim Burton's filmography, I just pulled it up real quick on Wikipedia because I was curious where this fell. So it comes after Edward Scissorhands, after Beetlejuice in 1988, Batman, Edward Scissorhands, Batman Returns, and then Nightmare Before Christmas. So this is his first stop motion because, like I said, we do get James and the Giant Peach, we get Corpse Bride, Coraline, Frankenweenie.
Okay, did he direct James and the Giant Peach? Because this is also just the weird thing. It says
directed by Henry Selick,
yeah,
but it's a Tim Burton film.
Yeah. So I feel like people just assume Tim Burton directed this, and I feel bad for Henry Selick. I think Henry Selick also did Corpse Bride. Like, I get Tim Burton has a unique style, and he's like the creative mastermind behind it, and I'm not trying to diminish
Corpse Bride
that.
Was co-directed with Mike Johnson, so Tim Burton had
he
more
did
of a
do
say
that.
for it.
Okay, but the Henry Selick on this, for sure, I just feel bad because I'm like, oh, it's Tim Burton's movie, and I'm like, it is, but he didn't direct it like he did Beetlejuice and Edward Scissorhands and some of those other films. So like, I just don't want to diminish Henry Selick's contributions to this film.
But I do like that you can tell a Tim Burton film.
Yeah.
Like, it's like
it's his style.
It's a very distinctive style that is both dark but funny. It's that dark humor that is so intriguing, and he's not afraid to play with the macabre, and in a way you're not afraid of it either. So it still has those creepy and spooky elements to it, but it's approachable to talk about and watch. I don't know what that is. Like, he also did Sweeney Todd. Like,
I do love Sweeney Todd.
That makes total sense to me. Like, Sweeney Todd, if you said Sweeney Todd Nightmare Before Christmas, even though one's a live action musical, one's stop motion, they fit in the same realm.
It's weird because I like Tim Burton. I like Beetlejuice. I like his Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. If I had to rank Tim Burton films, this would probably be in a top 10, but it's not going to be in my top 5.
So what I really like about Nightmare Before Christmas, I love the stop motion. I think this might have been, other than Christmas films, which we'll talk about Christmas, I think this might have been one of my first introductions to stop motion outside of like Rudolph and Chicken Run, like the
Wallace and Gromit?
Yeah, Wallace and
I got
Gromit.
you.
That was where, thank you. Outside of that studio. So I always liked that style, that it's just so cool to watch. I don't like just watching the mouth movements and how they move in stop motion is really cool. I do like, and we're going to talk about in the book, the lore of holidays. Like the tree grove always intrigued me. So
Yes,
I like
agreed.
that we're going to talk about the book, that we get a little bit more with that, because in the movie we're like, oh, there's a grove of trees that takes you out of the other holidays. And they go, and we do see Lock, Shock, and Barrel go through one or two other, or we know that they went through another door to try to find Sandy Claus, and they get the Easter Bunny. But like we only see it briefly. We see Jack go to Christmas Town and Jack comes back, and then we're in Halloween Town or the human world. So I liked that lore just always intrigued me. So I always liked that idea of the holidays all coexist in their own little realms, and how do they come together. So yeah, the music, that little bit of lore, and this was always just the right level of spookiness for me when it comes to like Halloween, because I'm with you. I like the spooky and like some of those classic monster, like Universal classic monsters, or like Beetlejuice, Edward Scissorhands, where you've got kind of that creepiness and the spookiness, but it's not really like Saw, Gore, or Silent Hill. Like, ugh, no, thank you.
Yeah, it's approachable spooky, I feel like. Unless you're me and you're 10 years old and you're scared in the basement. I do feel it's a nice way to ease in, to dip your toe into the spooky.
We're going to have an interesting conversation here, because both of us, while we respect the film and we like watching the film probably at least once a year in this Halloween or holiday time, neither of us were like devoted, like my whole life is like Nightmare Before Christmas is my movie, like how you love Hocus Pocus. Like for neither of us, Nightmare Before Christmas is a good one. We enjoy it. We celebrate it every year, but it's not the Die Hard. So I think this is going to be an interesting conversation with us, because I think we'll be a little bit more critical, and hopefully listeners, you'll stick with us, or, you know, let us know what you think. We're going to want to know.
Well, what I want to know is, do you think Nightmare Before Christmas is a Halloween or Christmas movie? And spoiler alert, I have strong opinions in it.
I guess maybe I'll be a little more diplomatic. I see how it can be both. I see where you can watch it throughout the season. And that's why you and I picked this book to talk about it in November, because it falls between Christmas and Halloween, that we were like, oh, let's do Nightmare Before Christmas so we can debate, is it a Christmas movie or a Halloween movie? So I agree that it could be both, in the sense that you can watch it through the season.
Yeah, I'm not saying
However, on a personal level, for me, it is more a Halloween movie.
Okay. Because
the first time in the season I can watch it is Halloween. So since that comes first, and it's like, we can watch this now, I associate it more with Halloween. Also, just because I have much more in my Christmas movie lineup over my Halloween movie lineup, I tend to put it with Halloween because I need more films there. So I see how it's both. On a personal level, I tend to put it more with Halloween, solely for the first time in the season, in the calendar year, that it's the season to watch it, and I need more films in my Halloween lineup. Give us your hot take.
I feel that the vast majority of people will agree with you, and I'm coming in with unpopular opinions for Nightmare Before Christmas is my theme for this episode. It's a Christmas movie, or that's what the plot is. That's what I feel like I'm mostly arguing with people. I get it. I'm not saying you're not allowed to watch it at Halloween, but if you really look at the story structure of the film, it wants to be a Christmas movie. It opens at the end of Halloween. Like this is Halloween. Great bop. I have it as the opening song of my Halloween playlist on Spotify. That's the beginning of the movie, and then the creepy mayor is like, oh, there's 364 days until next Halloween. I'm like, great, yeah, because we're moving into Christmas Town now. And it's about Jack embracing Christmas. And so the majority of the film is, okay, he experiences Christmas Town. Now he's getting into all of these different Christmas traditions, and the climax of the film takes place on Christmas Eve. So ergo, it is a Christmas film. But I think Disney would absolutely agree with you that they treat it as a Halloween film, because reading that D23 entry, it was released in October of 93, which we will circle back to. And then continually, and then when you think about things like Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party or Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, Jack and Sally appear at the Halloween party, not at the Christmas party. Out in California, it's Oogie Boogie's Bash. So Disney's like, it's a Halloween movie, but I'm like, the plot is a Christmas movie plot. So it's the plot that I get hung up on.
Didn't Jack and Sally? I remember Jack and Sally being at the Christmas party, because Jack at Halloween he's
as
in his
Sandy Claus.
But yeah, at Christmas he's in his Sandy Claus.
I don't.
Or at least he was when I was in my program.
Okay, which was 7 years ago. I have not met them because they creep me out. This is so embarrassing. It is not something that I have prioritized at the parties.
So I like your argument. It is setting wise. It's set within Christmas. And have you seen the overlay?
I have.
I haven't.
It's
want
good.
To so bad.
And that starts. Okay, interesting thing here. It starts at Halloween, but the attraction story is taking place on Christmas Day, because outside of the attraction they hang a giant countdown clock that's like number of days till Christmas, but it's not really counting down, 34 days till Christmas or something. At this point it would say 00 days till Christmas, meaning like, okay, the story is you're here and it's Christmas, so ergo it's a Christmas movie.
I think we're gonna have to add that to our social media story and get a poll from people. I'd be so curious to see.
I'm doing it. Great
I think
idea.
we both have very valid arguments. I don't disagree with the plot.
And I feel like Disney agrees with you the way that they treat it overall. But yeah, it's really just the plot that I always get hung up on.
So I want to cycle back to 1993 because this does cross with a film that you do love so much from spooky season, Hocus Pocus. So Hocus Pocus was released in the summer of 1993.
July.
And a lot of critics or fans of Hocus Pocus criticized that the reason why Hocus Pocus didn't do well was because since Nightmare Before Christmas was slotted for the Halloween spot, Hocus Pocus just didn't have the right timing to really gain the fandom and get the box office numbers it needed for being a Halloween movie in July. So what are some thoughts here? How do you feel about that Nightmare Before Christmas is that film? Like, does that do something for you as a big Hocus Pocus fan?
Yeah, maybe subconsciously that's why I'm like, whatever about this film, because it would have made more sense to give Hocus Pocus the October release, and they could have done this in Thanksgiving. Make it like a November release. Because I don't think there was a Disney animated release in 93. I could be wrong. I feel like, did we go from Aladdin to Lion King, or am I missing something? Because Aladdin's 92 and Lion King's 94.
94. I'm pulling up.
I feel like a lot of times the big Walt Disney Studio animation, I mean, I don't know, because we were so young at the time. I feel like I associate Walt Disney Studios animation with...
Aladdin was 1992.
They could have done
Christmas,
it then.
93. Lion King 94.
I don't know if those were released at Thanksgiving. Maybe it's a more recent thing that I think, like Frozen, Tangled, Princess and the Frog all came out around Thanksgiving.
Aladdin was
weekend.
Thanksgiving, November 25th. And Lion King was June.
Okay. There is no reason then that this could not have been the Thanksgiving tentpole for Disney, and Hocus Pocus could have been October. So I guess I'm just a little salty.
Well, that's our stage for this book. So we do need to know that Long Live the Pumpkin Queen takes place immediately after. So I'm going to give us a little bit of background here about the book's publication, and then spoilers are coming, folks. So if this is a book on your list, maybe this would be a good point to pause, go read, and come back. And we're happy to have you back. So here's a little bit of background. Long Live the Pumpkin Queen by Shea Ernshaw was published by Disney Press on August 2nd, 2002. So at the time of this recording, it is a very recent book, only 3.5 months old. Coming up on the film's 30th anniversary next year, it seems like a good time to capitalize on spooky season and add more to this franchise that so many fans love. The author, Shea Ernshaw, is a #1 New York Times USA Today and indie best-selling author of The Wicked Deep, Winterwood, A Wilderness of Stars, Long Live the Pumpkin Queen, and A History of Wild Places. Her books have been published in over 20 countries, repeatedly chosen at Indie Next Picks. Her biography from her website shares that she is happiest when she is lost in a good book, or lost in the woods, or writing her next novel. All of her novels take place in the woods, so Long Live the Pumpkin Queen, based in the woods of Halloween Town, is quite a perfect setting for her. In her acknowledgments of the book, she thanks Tim Burton for giving her the green light to write this story centered on Sally. So I do think it's safe to assume that this is indeed an approved canon for this frightful filmmaker, taking his story forward. I am going to give a quick recap of the book now. So again, spoilers, and moving forward, Courtney and I are going to fully talk about the book and everything that happens in it. So here we go. You have been warned. The story picks up immediately where Nightmare Before Christmas leaves off. Sally and Jack are now married, and she is dubbed the Pumpkin Queen of Halloween Town. They have a brief honeymoon in Valentine's Day Town, and Sally's really excited about sharing this life with Jack, that she's now exploring new realms with him. She feels like he is taking her into this life. She's excited about starting a new life outside of Dr. Finkelstein's lab, that she gets to now kind of not just be the ragdoll in the background. So they have a fun time exploring these new realms. She's excited to take what she's learned and improve Halloween Town for what they learned on their honeymoon. Like, we should have a bed and breakfast so other holidays come to visit us. We should try to do more. Like, essentially, she wants to attract tourism to Halloween Town, which is kind of cool. But when their honeymoon is over, which, by the way, is super short, they get a 1-day honeymoon because it's 2 weeks till Halloween, and the mayor's like, you need to be back. So they get a 1-day honeymoon, and when they return, she feels like, okay, we're going to jump into Halloween. But Jack has his own duties as the Pumpkin King. He's doing planning and executing Halloween holiday for the human realm with the mayor, and Sally's kind of sad to figure out that she gets cut out of that meeting, and they're like, oh, you need to go do queen stuff. And she's like, well, what's that? There's never been a queen, so what's queen stuff that I need to do? But it turns out, Halloween Town's looking forward to having kind of like a hostess. Like, think of what Queen Elizabeth II is, which is funny because she meets Queen Elizabeth. So cool. So Halloween Town's like really excited to have her as a queen. They try to make her a dress and a crown, and they want her to host the Halloween party that they have at Halloween Town while Jack is doing Halloween in the human realm. And they're kind of giving her all these things. They're like, we need to pick out drapes and redecorate. And these are nothing. This is nothing that interests Sally. She wants to be involved with the Halloween holiday. She wants to be alongside Jack. She doesn't want to just be a figurehead next to Jack. She doesn't want to be second to Jack. She wants to be an equal partner with him. So she kind of storms out at some point, and I'm glad we do get to see Sally's not sassiness, but like when she gets determined, like we see in the film, like she goes off. So she leaves the fitting. She tries complaining to Jack, who is kind of brushing her off. So she does what they all do. They take a walk in the woods to blow off steam, and she's with Zero, and they find the door to Dreamland. So she thinks about, spending time at some other holidays, but they just keep walking. And she finds a door that's a crescent-shaped moon that has all these, like, branches and brambles and vines grown all over it. And she's like, what door is this? So she opens it. Zero's, playing tug of war with her arm and whatnot. And she somehow lets loose the Sandman of Dreamland. And now everyone in all the holidays is falling asleep. And essentially, the plot of this book is she realizes since she's the one that caused this mess, she needs to solve it. She's the only person, other than one little leprechaun that we meet, who is still awake. She does get to travel to Dreamtown, which we'll talk about, because that was very interesting. And she does essentially, bring everyone back to life. But like, Sleeping Beauty style. True love's kiss, but in this case, put the Sandman to sleep, and everyone will wake up and break the curse. And so she saves the town. So we get a little bit of new realms. We get a story centered on Sally. So this was quite a sequel. So Courtney, what was your overall impression of the book?
I would say I liked it. It's not one that I probably would have chosen to read had we not had this podcast, but I appreciate us branching out, getting into a little more fiction, and having the opportunity to read it. So I did find myself getting engrossed in the story, and when we'll get to the plot twist, I was like, oh, things just got really interesting here. I listened to it as an audio book format because I've gotten really into audiobooks now, commuting to work a little more regularly. So that was fun for me. I did have to put it on 2x speed because that helped me with the narrator. Not to knock this narrator, and this has nothing to do obviously with the writing of the book, but she was attempting to do a Sally impression, but it's just very, very breathy and kind of a baby voice. I felt like she was channeling some of Jane Krakowski's characters, whether it's 30 Rock or Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. Very, if you know that voice, then you know what I'm talking about. I was like, I gotta speed this up. I don't like this voice, but no offense to that narrator. But as far as the story itself, I found myself engrossed in it. How about you?
I did enjoy the story. At times it was kind of slow to me. I liked the elements. I really like that the tree grove and the lore of the realms going to different holidays. We have ancient realms, like your Dreamland is an ancient realm. So realms that existed before holidays did. And I think there was a lot of potential there to play more with that. There were lots of things that were interesting to me. I just wish we got more time with them, or that we focused on like just the lore of the realms or just on Dreamland. I feel like we got a lot of cool things, but I didn't get enough time with all of them as much as I wanted. In some respect, I felt some pieces were cut a little short, but overall I thought it was a good story. I like that Sally, I'm going to make, maybe this is a Nightmare Before Christmas hot take. I think Sally's the hero of Nightmare Before Christmas, not Jack. While she needs Jack, I guess, to save Sandy Claus, like Sandy Claus says at the end, if anyone makes sense to this town, it's her. She gets Jack to come around. She's the only person in Halloween Town who stands up. So maybe while she needs a little bit of help in the end with Jack to actually get Oogie Boogie, defeat Oogie Boogie, I think she's more of the hero of Nightmare Before Christmas than Jack is. So I really liked getting more time with Sally. I really liked that she is the heroine. It gets to really, because when she's like, it's my turn to save Halloween Town, I'm like, girl, you've done it before. You could do this. But I thought it was interesting, like the relationship with Jack. He's asleep for most of it. This is like a Sleeping Beauty moment here where like all the other characters are asleep for most of the film. So I did like getting them at the beginning, but I wanted more of that because we spent so long in Nightmare Before Christmas watching Sally pine after Jack. And yay, we have the happy ending where he finally like, realizes it, that he has this amazing person in his life. I kind of wish we got a little bit more of that, or that at the end he's very protective of Sally, but when she was trying to tell him how she felt, he was kind of like, but you're the pumpkin queen, do what you want. But he didn't really like, he supported her in words, but not so much in action. I was kind of like, this doesn't seem like Jack. But overall, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good sequel. There were just some places where I would have liked either to go deeper into the lore of the realms or have a little bit more character development. But overall, I was very happy to spend a lot of time with Sally.
Yeah, so speaking of those realms, in this book, we had the opportunity to enter, I think, pretty much each of the trees that are briefly shown in the opening of the original film. What did you think of this, and did you have a favorite?
I did like that we could have very easily gone back to Christmas Town. Like, we could have very easily done that. But I did like that she made the choice to take us to Valentine's Town. At another point, we go to St. Patrick's Day. So I did like that she picked two kind of minor holidays.
We also went to 4th of July very briefly. And Thanksgiving.
Yeah. So I liked that we had a moment to see the other holidays. personal level, I don't think I would have went to Valentine's Day. It's a lot of sugar for me. It's a little too much. I'm more of a savory. I do like my sweets. Don't get me wrong. A good piece of chocolate cake.
It makes sense for their honeymoon, though, love themed and Valentine's.
I agree. And since it's kind of like the Queen of Hearts, like we needed Sally's big journey here was she was taking on what does it mean to be queen. So she needed to see another queen. And we see this throughout that she meets other queens. So we have the Queen of Hearts.
Ruby Valentina.
Yeah, Ruby Valentina in Valentine's Town. And then we also, when she's trying to stop the Sandman, she has to go through the human realm to get back to Halloween Town.
Queen Elizabeth II.
Queen Elizabeth. Amazing. Funny thing. So when I was reading that section of the book, I was on a flight to and from Texas, and the woman next to me is watching The Crown.
Nice.
And then I was like, Queen Elizabeth, and I looked next to me, and it's Queen Elizabeth. I was like, timing. So that's a theme that I thought was woven really well, that she pictures and sees these different queens at different points in her story to kind of piece together what does it mean for her to be queen. So Valentine's Town, it worked. But on a personal level, if I were to go somewhere, I would probably go to Christmas Town would be like the fave I want to go to. But I'm intrigued by St. Patrick's Day Town because I thought the leprechauns were fun and they're looking for rainbows and pots of gold. And like, that just seems fun to me. And I'm Irish, so why not? What about you? What's a town that you would want to visit?
Well, I was just excited to get the experience of going into their towns. When I realized that's where they were going through their honeymoon, like I was really jazzed. I was like, oh, cool, we're going in the other trees. Because I feel there have definitely been memes and posts from people that are like, I want to know what happens in these towns, like picturing the trees from the opening of the film. So I was excited to get, I thought we were at first just going to get maybe Valentine's Town, and I thought Ruby Valentina was going to have a bigger part in the story, but we really just have her in that. I was like, oh, is she going to be a villain? No, she was just kind of there as a reference for different queens. I think Valentine's Town might have been my favorite, though, because I thought it was a clever take on it with, like, they're, like, birthing little, like, baby cupids and things. I feel like that was the most developed. Like, she kind of just, like, popped in 4th of July and Thanksgiving. She's like, oh, they're all at a table, or oh, they're preparing the fireworks. I don't know, the 4th of July is, I mean, I get that it's based on what the original movie was, but I feel like 4th of July is a very US centric holiday, so I'm surprised there's a whole tree for it. I mean, Halloween arguably is as well, but something like Christmas and Easter and Valentine's I feel are more global, and I was like, oh, 4th of July gets a whole thing. But good for that holiday. I was just happy for every moment that we got in the other realms.
Yeah, I would say Valentine's Town and Dreamland are where we spent the most time. St. Patrick's, we got a little bit more than like Thanksgiving, Easter, but I'd be intrigued by that one. I think if I had to go to one, I would maybe try that one out. But what did you think, speaking of other realms, so we do get to Dreamtown. What did you think of Dreamtown? We're not going to talk about the spoiler yet, or the plot twist, but what did you think of Dreamtown, an ancient realm?
I liked this idea of ancient realms, which we get a little more peek of towards the end of the book, as more like non-holiday, but like something steeped in, I would say, folklore and tradition. And so Dreamtown is where all of our dreams come from. They create lullabies and have a library of where those are all stored. They create the cuddly companions that we like to snuggle with at night to feel safe when falling asleep as children. I liked that there was a separate language for Dreamtown, and they spoke mostly in rhymes, harkening back to the lullaby theming there. So I thought it was nice to get into like a broader concept beyond a holiday itself.
I liked the counting sheep. When the sheep went by, they're like, they only really work in the human realm. They're such a nuisance here because they like stampede through the city. So I thought that was funny. And they're all wearing pajamas. So I don't know, maybe Dreamland is where we really want to go. I like some good comfy PJs and slippers, and everything smells like lavender, and it's like twilight dusky. Sounds lovely. So Sally goes to all these lands. What did you think of Sally in the book versus the film?
I liked getting deeper into her personality because I do feel the film the film is rather short. It's only 67 minutes, I believe, and it moves rather quickly. So I feel like some of the characters feel a little underdeveloped. So this was great to get more into her insecurities, her anxieties about being a queen. I mean, it is told from her point of view, so we are in depth into Sally, and I liked it in that regard. I think she's a cool character. I liked your hot take on the film. So how did you feel?
I liked it as well. Spending time with her, being in her head. And yeah, I think that journey that she goes on of trying to figure out her place, she is an underdog character. And it was interesting to see how she recognized, because in the film we do see how, I want to say like people flat out ignore her, but she isn't like, I don't want to say not an essential part to Halloween Town, but like everyone in the town had a role to play in Halloween. And she's just Dr. Finkelstein's essential daughter, like his project. So she didn't really know like what she had to do. And she felt special that Jack gave her a role even at Christmas, even though she disagreed with it. And like she has the power of foresight. We didn't see that in the book. So like she has some incredible power herself that Jack does kind of recognize, or he recognizes her as like, you can make my Santa Claus outfit. So I liked the journey as a character that, yes, now she's with Jack, but what do people see? Do they actually see me, or do they see just more of Jack? So getting people to understand her. But what I've always liked about Sally is, even by the end of the film, in Night Before Christmas, like she is pretty determined, or even throughout the film, she's pretty determined, even if it's in a quiet way. Like she wanted to have her time outside of the lab. She found a way to put Dr. Finkelstein to sleep so that she could enjoy running through Halloween Town while he was napping. Like she has a drive that I find really admirable. And like when she goes to rescue Santa Claus, like she's a brave character. So I like to see the complicated emotions here of her trying to figure out like who she is now in this new role. We're going to talk about the spoiler next, trying to figure out where she fits now as a person, because she gets a whole new part of her identity that she didn't know. So let's talk about this plot twist, because I was like enjoying the book, and I was like, okay, we got to stop the Sandman. Cool. I know where we're going. And then this happened, and I was like, oh,
got real
here
interesting.
we go. Now it's interesting. So what did you think about the plot twist, which is Sally has parents, and she is from Dreamland.
They're the governors of Dreamland. Yeah, that is where I was like, ooh, now I feel very invested in this. Like I can picture myself driving to and from work each day. And I alluded to before, I got really excited when we went to Valentine's Town. I was like, oh, cool, this is where this is going. And then when it was revealed that they were her parents, I was like, oh snap, this got really intriguing. Okay, well, I was still enjoying it, but I was like, where is this going now? Like, oh, we're changing what the movie is. I mean, as I have made very clear, I don't have strong ties to the film, so I was not like, you changed it, she's supposed to be Dr. Finkelstein's creation. I didn't have a problem with that. I liked deepening her backstory. How did you feel in that regard? It turns out he kidnapped her. So like
I got
erased her
total
memory.
Rapunzel vibes when I'm like, Dr. Finkelstein is Mother Gothel. She wanted to be young, he wanted a child, or to establish himself in science, and then she doesn't remember where she came from. So Halloween Town is her home. But I thought that was interesting. I think it explains a lot about her character, because she does have a disconnect with people in Halloween Town, where she has a level of providing comfort and compassion that makes sense out of Dreamland. We want people to she's a dreamer. She has big ideas. She's restless. So like that's kind of Dreamlandish. And unlike other people in Halloween Town, where she just like wants to wreak havoc. Like she loves Halloween Town, and she loves what that all stands for, because that's what she ends up essentially growing up in. But she has a softer side, no pun intended. She's supposed to be stuffed with cotton. But so to me, I was like, oh, that kind of makes sense. We're part of her personality and the things she cares about, how she approaches problems. isn't quite the Halloween Town approach. It's a softer side of that. So I thought that was cool. But this is one of the parts where I wish we spent more time with this plot twist. Because we find out she has parents. And they're like, yeah, you were stolen away from us. We didn't know where you went. We're told, like, Dr. Finkelstein unstuffed her with her cotton and instead put leaves in her. So she's one of the comfort animals. The way how some people have soft, plushy dolls to cuddle to go to sleep. She's a soft, plushy doll that people would have to go to sleep. So she's a comfort animal, or a comfort sleep
Stuffed
pal.
animal.
Yeah. So that's essentially what it is. But it hides so well at Halloween Town, too, that, you know, a ragdoll is kind of creepy sometimes, depending on how she is. So I wanted some more time here because we find out very quickly, like, she was kidnapped. This is actually where she comes from, which to her answers a lot of questions about why she never always felt like she fit in Halloween Town or, like, among the residents. As much as she loves Jack and loves Halloween, there's just some things of how their town works that she just doesn't quite resonate with. Or, you know, she describes, like, she didn't like the idea of just being a creation, that she didn't belong to anybody. She was born in sewn together like Frankenstein. She was sad that she never had a family. So learning she had a family is a big deal. We get a betrayal. The family locks her in her bedroom because the Sandman's been wreaking havoc. And in Dreamtown, the fact that the Sandman is now out, they're like, oh, the Sandman, like, steals dreams. He's kind of a tyrant.
Yeah, let's talk about him.
Yeah, he's an interesting character. So apparently, like, it's not just puts people to sleep how we traditionally think of a Sandman, but he's a little bit more menacing. He, like, steals your dreams that you have a dreamless sleep or don't wake up at all. So they want to put a stop to that. So they're like, if we cut down the grove of trees, he's not currently here. We can block him from coming back into Dreamland, and we can continue to run Dreamland without all the extra security. We can help people go to sleep without fearing that their dreams will be stolen. People can continue to dream and the good parts of dreaming.
I felt he was an interesting antagonist. I felt it was a clever approach. I feel like he's not an often explored, like, piece of folklore. Like, I definitely remember, like, hearing about the Sandman as a kid, like, oh, he helps you fall asleep. So I felt that was a creative choice to develop this Dreamland and this antagonist.
I did too. It was just that part between finding her family and stopping the Sandman where I wish we got more time to hash that out.
I do believe, though, it's meant for younger readers.
Yeah.
Like, I would say, would you say middle grade or, like, young adult high school?
I would say maybe more middle grade, like 7, 8, 9.
Mm-hmm. So I get it. We're 30-year-olds reading a book for 12-year-olds, but
right. So I just felt like the parent part was really fast. Like, it's such a great plot twist, and then it's like they locked her in the tower. She feels betrayed because they go and cut down the trees and they lied to her. But, like, we don't learn more about them. We don't learn. We do get some, heartfelt. They get the happily ever after. The realms aren't severed completely after all. They can regrow the trees. But those were just the parts where I was like, oh, this is really cool. But then it's over. We went to Valentine's Town and then it's over. Like, there were just lots of things where I'm like, these are cool pieces. But we spent a lot of time with Sally running around Halloween Town just finding everyone's still asleep, and then running around and finding everyone's still asleep, where I'm like, that could have been sped up and everything else could have had more time.
Okay, fair criticism. In the end, though, the Sandman reconciles with Sally and these different townspeople because he finally got a good night's sleep. What did you think of the ending?
I won't lie, I was kind of disappointed.
Like, it wrapped up too quickly?
It wrapped up too quickly, and I don't know, maybe it's different than Santa Claus, because Santa Claus wasn't the villain, but we defeat Oogie Boogie. But it's like, we defeated the Sandman. She uses her potion skills, and, she has that aha moment of, yes, I'm from Dreamtown, but I am from Halloween Town. There are things that I love about Halloween Town that I've learned there. She makes a potion, she puts him to sleep. It's like Dr. Finkelstein's sleeping potion on steroids to take down such a big guy. But then he wakes up and he's like, oh, wow, I'm good now. I didn't realize maybe I just needed a good night's sleep. I won't steal people's dreams anymore if you give me a potion to help me take a nap every once in a while. It just felt too like, and we're all good now. And I'm like, but no, we're not all good. You've been wreaking havoc on nightmares on Dreamland and the human world for decades.
Centuries, I think.
Centuries. And suddenly we're just like, oh, okay. So I like that Sally took him down. She was the hero. She woke everyone up. But I felt like there could have been more of like, we defeated the Sandman like we did with Oogie Boogie. I felt maybe it wrapped up fast, but I was just like, it was kind of soft. But maybe that's where we're going with the audience that we have, that this is written for. So I was a little like, okay.
No, I think you summed it up perfectly, and it was like, oh, it's ending. Okay.
But then in the epilogue, I found the epilogue so intriguing. Like, I loved the epilogue, and I was like, wait, where's more of this? Because we kind of get what Jack and Sally, revamp. She finds her place in Halloween Town. She does build a bed and breakfast like in Valentine's Town. And I like that they serve stuff from all the other towns. Like, they're encouraging Halloween Town people to learn about other holidays. I like that. We like cultural responsive learning and engagement and diversity. So in a way, like, that's how they're approaching it. And she and Jack go into other doors, and Jack gives her kind of that. I like that he recognizes, he's like, you've actually traveled more realms and learned more about them than I have, so you take the lead. I was like, yes, go Sally. And they find more doors. They go beyond the Treen door, and they're like, let's see what else is in this forest. And then in the last page, we find that there's a tree to Mother Nature, Father Time, and like the Tooth Fairy. And I was like, there's more. So do you think this is really setting us up maybe for another book, or what do you think that serves in the epilogue here?
Oh, I think it absolutely could. Like, when you have a moment like that and it's towards the last few paragraphs of the book, I think it's opening itself up to a sequel. I'll be honest, I'd read it. Like, even if it wasn't for the show, I enjoyed this enough that I would see what else they take us through in terms of the lands and the realms.
So when we got this, the Mother Nature, Father Time, etc., this is what it kind of reminded me of the stop motion Christmas movies. Which one is it? Is it Rudolph's Shiny Happy New Year or something like that, where we get the New Year's baby and there's Father Time, or A Year Without a Santa Claus, we get the Heat Miser, Cold Miser, and Mother Nature. So remind me of that, or Santa Claus, the Santa Claus 2 or the Santa Claus 3 with Tim Allen, and like they have their meeting of all the holidays, and like the Easter Bunny's there, Mother Nature's there, Father Time is there. I kind of got those vibes. I was like, oh, we're gonna have. I like this cross realm thing, and I think there's something that could really be explored here in Tim Burton's universe with visiting other holidays or these ancient realms, be that a book or a mini series.
Could be a cool Disney Plus series.
Disney Plus mini series. I think that'd be really cool. So I really enjoyed the epilogue because I liked seeing Sally like kind of fulfill her role for herself, but also like finding this. I'm really intrigued by the lore here of this grove of trees and different realms, and would love to see more with that. So yeah, overall, I think we both enjoyed this book. While we have some criticisms of it, I'm glad we read it. Like you, I think because of this podcast, it makes us look out for specifically new Disney books that are coming out. And I'm glad that we came across this one.
Yeah, I would absolutely recommend it to fans of the film or anyone looking to continue, spooky season into Christmas, because that is just where this film and this book live and fit.
Exactly. So if you enjoyed Nightmare Before Christmas and liked Long Live the Pumpkin Queen, as always, we like to share additional resources. So the one I would like to recommend, if you haven't watched Prop Culture already, episode number 3 is all about Nightmare Before Christmas. I recommend this because stop motion has always been an interesting film medium to me. And I think it's cool to see the sets in real scale, because when you watch the movie, you don't realize how big or small these are, and it's so interesting to be like, they're not huge.
No, the scale is surprising.
But how that turns into a film that you see on the big screen is just so cool. It is movie magic, and seeing all the faces and clay bodies they need to make even just a single film, that behind the scenes look really gives you an appreciation for what the animators did. So highly recommend Prop Culture if you haven't seen that one. And we also mentioned you mentioned the Disneyland overlay. I think they talk about it in Behind the Attraction in the Haunted Mansion episode. So if you haven't seen it, that's a good place to go check that out too.
Yeah, I had watched the film last week and then immediately watched the pop culture episode because I was like, oh yeah, that was a good one. Let's revisit that. Such a fun show on Disney Plus. My recommendation may be a Book of the Mouse Club burst. I'm not sure, but I am recommending a completely different non-Disney book by the same author, Shea Ernshaw. She is also the author of A History of Wild Places, a novel. This was her debut adult fiction novel, and it was published just close to a year ago in December of 2021. And interestingly, you and I both picked this through our namesake Book of the Month Club. If anyone doesn't know, Emily and I are both members of that and get books each month for our own reading pleasure as well. And we both enjoyed it. It's a haunting and atmospheric book that takes place in the woods. We've learned that's her thing. So while it's not Disney, I do feel it's a nice companion in that way if you're looking for something fictional to read.
I remember both you and I were reading it. We're like, this is good. I'm not sure where this is going. And then she does a good job with plot twists when you need one. So I remember that hitting us, and we were both like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah. Like, you're like, it's good. I'm into it. And I'm like, oh, now I'm really into it. So
yeah.
She is definitely very good at that. So yeah, I don't think I've recommended something along those lines before, but happy reading. If you're looking to add more Disney books to your collection, though, we do have our next selection for you, which is The Art of Strange World. So thank you again to our pals at Chronicle Books. We will catch up with you listeners after the Thanksgiving release of Walt Disney Animation's latest film, Strange World. We wish you all a happy and safe Thanksgiving if you're celebrating soon, and hope you have a chance to check out this film before our next episode. In the meantime, you can keep up with Book of the Mouse Club on Twitter and Instagram at Book of the Mouse. Email us with comments or ideas to bookofthemouseclub@gmail.com. And please be sure to leave us a review on iTunes so others can find our podcast and read and listen along with us. You can keep up with me, Courtney, on Instagram at GreatGusby and Twitter while it's still here at Courtney_Guth.
And you can keep up with me, Emily, on Instagram and Twitter at the same handle, at Emily_McD. And Courtney, I believe it is your turn to close us out for this episode.
It is my pleasure to do so. So I've picked one from the end of the book. This is directly from Long Live the Pumpkin Queen. I have, quote, "And I know with a certainty that is knitted in my linen bones, we will spend a lifetime slipping through doorways that lead to other doorways, carved into ancient gnarled trees, lands to explore, adventures to be had, but always together, because there is nothing quite so wasted as a life unlived. And I intend to live mine, fully unbound by the rules of others. Queen or not, we all deserve these things. Freedom, hope, a chance to find out who we really are." End quote.
That's a great closing quote, all about Sally's journey. I like that.
Thanks.
So in the meantime, listeners, thanks so much, and enjoy watching Nightmare Before Christmas, both as a Halloween or a Christmas film.
Book of the Mouse Club has no affiliation with the Walt Disney Company. The views and opinions expressed by hosts and participants are theirs and theirs alone. They do not represent the organizations or companies they happen to work for.